Hi there, Paul Falstad, counseling student, proud father of a transgender daughter, ally, English teacher, proud father of a son. I can't forget him. And I want to know, where are you, Chief Wahoo? The venerable Chief Wahoo, smiling Indian caricature as he is, beloved in the town of Cleveland, Ohio. And I grew up with this face, and I loved him. I'm a white guy. I'm a white kid. He was fun. Cleveland Indians. They could never win a series when I was growing up until I was old. They finally won the series, right? Or did they ever win? No, I don't know. Anyways, go Browns. So, what better way to depict the paradoxical history of America and its racism and bigotry than with the current controversy over the Chief Wahoo image and subsequent removal and replacement with the Guardians of Cleveland. I I don't know who the Guardians are. I don't know what that means, but it's boring. We're talking about real American history, um, I guess, as opposed to revisionist American history. I'm not a history major, but this massacre at Wounded Knee in December 29, 1890, where I wasn't alive at the time. 250 to 300 Minneconne who were killed in total, almost half of whom were women and children. At least 25 U.S. soldiers also died, many likely fallen to friendly fire. What a scar on American history that we don't talk about. Why am I talking about it? Well, my activity for this assignment was to go to a sweat lodge, and I have a great interest in Native Americans and a great respect for Native Americans. And I tried to immerse myself in their culture while I lived in Los Angeles, um, during the 2000s and up till 2015, 2000 to 2015. Somewhere around 2003, I went to a sweat lodge, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But back to the point of the pictures and the slaughter of innocent lives. And it's said that the soldiers didn't discriminate as the women and children were running away from the attack. The automatic gallery guns, the ones that they roll. No, they were cannons. How they were like pre-howitzer cannons, automatic apparently, that gunned down these women and children. And we don't talk about it in white culture and white history. I was never taught about it in my history classes. We didn't talk about the slaughter and decimation of American Indians, Native Americans, indigenous people. They were here before us, white people. So my focus is on their plight, but also, what do counselors do? What do we do as social advocates mandated by the ACA ethics and ACA cultural competencies? So the Sweat Lodge, just a wonderful, mystical, magical experience. Um, I met, I reached out to organizations in Los Angeles, Native American organizations. And pardon me if I use Native American as opposed to indigenous people. I'm trying to be as respectful as possible. But it's in my vocabulary, so it's hard to switch to indigenous. But anyways, all respect to the indigenous peoples of the Americas and how we destroyed them, raped them, obliterated them as a culture, and now we have a chance as counselors to retake their mental health back, and their humanity back, and their autonomy back, and their nation back. Anyways, the Sweat Lodge is this great experience for me. It was an immersive experience. I had been to some powwows at where I was going to school at Cal State, Long Beach, for my teaching degree. And there is something so powerful about powwows and sweat lodges and any kind of indigenous people, Native American gatherings. It is, if you have respect for those people, that culture, and if you're open to the power of the Great Spirit, as they would say, and this proud, regal, royal, honorable, respectful culture of the Native American people, it just it's overwhelming, and I was in bawling. I don't cry, and at not at the sweat lodge, but at the powwows, I'm sitting on the grass. I wrote a song about it. You could look it up on YouTube called Powwow. Yeah, I think so. Powwow. Under Paul Falstad. But anyways, I was bawling on the grass. Why would I be weeping? Because I looked around at the trees and I looked around at the grass, and I'm sitting on this grass and I'm thinking, this is their grass. I'm I'm with my white privilege, I am sitting on their land, and I give them no respect for it, and no honor for it, no thanks for it. And it just broke my little heart, and it bled that day as it just hit me. And I think it was God, and we'll call him the Great Spirit, because I so revere their spiritual nature, as I research it, and as you feel it, as you meet a Native American person, you just, there's something so ethereal and so above the earth that they possess, that just a natural beauty of spiritual beauty, and just beautiful people. So anyways, here I am crying, and it's I don't say it's transformed my life, but the experiences with Native Americans was powerful. That's all I could say. Okay, I'm just going to briefly talk about, and try to be brief. I only have 15 to 20 minutes for this presentation. I'm pretty sure I'm going to use all of it. The Indian uprising at Alcatraz, November 69 to June 71. And I have a connection to this. A bizarre, unbelievable, kismetic, synchronistic connection. Anthony Logan was one of the protesters on the Alcatraz Island, as you see the picture here. They took over Alcatraz Island because, well, it was their land, and their Indian cultural center in this was obviously San Francisco, California, but their cultural center burned down. Suspicious. I wonder how that might have happened. No, they didn't burn it down. Conspiracy theory. Look it up. Look, the government was after the Native American culture, and especially any kind of anti-government sentiment that might have been brewing amongst the younger folks at that time in the 70s, 60s, and 70s. So, um, anyways, they took over Alcatraz, and Anthony Logan was one of the guys that lived there and was protesting and part of that group. I had been reading a book about this uprising. I'm just researching Native American history, and I'm reading this book, and at the same time, I'm living in Los Angeles. I'm working in the film industry, and I was running a camera for a, a home shopping network live program. The director, just so happened to be Anthony Logan. One day he's a really amazing guy. One day we just got talking. I just started talking. I didn't know he was Native American. You don't know. You couldn't tell. He's not. He doesn't. It's not the stereotypical. Anyways, you couldn't tell. I had no idea he was Native American. And I just brought up. I was so passionate about this subject in this book. I said, "Do you know about this Indian uprising at Alcatraz? It's fascinating." Um, I was there. I dropped my jaw on the floor, bounced back up and down a few times. I love that guy from the beginning, but even more so now at that point. So there's my connection there. Um, I'm highlighting this because this is social advocacy in action. This is the people taking charge of their history and rewriting their history and trying to take back their culture from the white man. And I say that with all disrespect and sorrow as being a white man. So, but I'm owning up to it. And the social justice advocates ask us to take responsibility for our actions and looking at our history as a dominant culture, as the dominant culture that just destroyed blacks and Asians and Mexicans and especially Native Americans. We didn't disseminate the black culture. We disseminated the Indian culture. We almost succeeded in wiping them off the American continent. And they are in such tragic condition, living on these awful reservations and having low self-esteem and just battling to stay alive. So let's just look briefly at this event. And I did. I loved the history of Alcatraz. We would visit San Francisco pretty often, actually, and just go on Alcatraz. There's something just amazing about it. And here the Native American guys took over. And this was a quote from a New York Times article by David Trerer. I'll try to read it, as Vine Deloria Jr. put it in his watershed book of that year, Custer died for your sins. The more we try to be ourselves, the more we are forced to defend what we have never been. The American public feels more comfortable with the mythical Indians in the land who are always there. And I've added pictures to every slide just for impact. And oh, hello, Chief Wahoo, the now non-existent Chief Wahoo, who remains only in old vintage t-shirts and in the memories of white people like me who grew up with him. And I can't say that I'm proud of it, but let's just move on about that. But anyways, the MCC's multicultural counseling competencies, the fourth wave. I I don't know about that. I don't think I'm educated enough about that. And you know, I think there's this bandwagon. I'm staunchly for it. Number one, counselor awareness of bias. Check your bias. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, counselors. Um, I'm owning my racist past. I'm owning my white privilege. I know I don't deserve it. I know I have white guilt. I'm not proud of systemic racism. I'm being a counselor so I can advocate for people like Native Americans and my Mexican friends and my black folks and my Asians and LGBTQs. My daughter's transgender. I'm an ally for anybody who's bullied and picked on. When I was 5 years old, this big kid pushed everybody out of the way and climbed up the slide and went down. Big kid. I am 5'6" now, 129 pounds. Back then, I don't know how I was, 48 pounds or something. and all of 3'6". And I said these words: "You big ape, you can't push everybody out of the way. You got to take turns." So I've always been an ally, advocate, or I don't know, what do you call it? So anyways, check yourself, counselors. Um, Awareness of the client's worldview. Learn about what does the client feel about their world and how they fit into it. Using culturally appropriate interventions. Make sure that if we're going to do an intervention, a therapy, that it fits the person, not just one size fits all therapy. I'm trying to hurry now, Professor. I only have 14 minutes. ACA advocacy competencies started in 2003 by the American Counseling Association. Collaborate, individual advocacy, community advocacy. That's the domains, I guess. Um, Collaborate with the client first, individual and group counseling, individual advocacy. Build that client up, empower that client, encourage that client with how strong they are, that they've made it through these horrifying, discriminatory, systemic racist oppression. Client advocacy, we're working with the client in the office. Community collaboration, get out of the office and go do something in the community. Work with the community, the schools, the community service agencies. Systems advocacy. Hey, do some political activism. Get with your congressperson, meet your senator, your representative, write him an email, give him a call. We can do this. We're professionals. We have some clout. This is where we can make a difference. Collective action. Get together, counselors. Get with the ACA and the other OCAs and all the other state counseling associations. Social political advocacy. I already talked about that. It's important. We can make a difference. Counselors and white people. I pretty much went over this already. The advocacy competencies give us a structure, give us a framework. I'm taking words from the references today, but give us something to work with, solid ideas for action. We listen in the counseling office in session, and then we go do something with the client and for the client. Strengthen the client's strengths. They have poor self-image, being minorities, facing discrimination and oppression and internal oppression. And we got to be their cheerleader. We got to strengthen their strengths and show them how strong they are, that they survived. Did you survive, white people? Hell no. We look down on everybody else and still do. We want to hold on to those reins of power. Counselors, let's take back the power to the people. I sound like, I don't know. Hey, I was a kid in the 60s and was raised in the 70s. And I was at Kent State on May 4th. I wasn't protesting. I was 9 years old. So I was there. May 4th, 4 dead in Ohio. Neil Young. ACA ethics. Look, we're tasked to be multiculturally competent counselors. Learn. We have to learn about the cultures we're working with. I don't know what it's like to live in the hood. I don't know what it's like to be black. I don't know what it's like to walk down the street at night with my black friends in going to the 7-Eleven and the white people walk to the other side of the street. I don't know what it's like to have microaggressions in going in the restaurant. I don't know what it's like to wonder what the white boss is thinking about me, all the while thinking he's hating on me. I've worked with black folk in Amazon and factories in Ohio, and I learned how horrible their lives are because of this oppression and what they've had, the historical trauma, the generational trauma that they carry in their bodies. I don't know anything about it, but I'm learning. And we have to educate ourselves and don't expect that we know just because we took a multicultural class in the grad program at Walden University. We don't know. Own it up. Advocacy with clients and for clients. Get out there and do something. The system is colorblind. I'm white. I didn't know I was white. I was colorblind till I read Peggy White's article unpacking the invisible knapsack about my white privilege, and I was shocked and ashamed and guilty when I read it, and I didn't believe I had it, but I had it. I have it. I can't help it. I was born that way. It's not really my fault, and I'm not proud of it. But I probably wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade it because it's nice to have privilege, but um, I'm trying to be gracious with it, and I'm trying to use it as a power to help the minorities that I get to work with as a counselor, that I'm privileged to work with. Rampant inequities. Oppression is real. We don't know, white people. We don't know. Internalized oppression. It's all real, folks. It's not me, it's you, says the white societal systemic racist um, uh, bourgeoisie. Mental health issues are often from societal racism. Society helps cause mental illness in people of color, minorities, immigrants, Muslims, religious minorities. But internalized racism makes them say to themselves, it's me. I'm shameful. I'm deficient. I'm defective. And we got to help them. We got to encourage them. We got to build them up. Let's do it. Social justice, not just your mother's chicken fried steak anymore. I don't know where that came from. Get out of the office. You can't be humble. You have to be brave. Yes, we don't know about minority oppression. Yes, we haven't experienced it. Absolutely, we have no clue. But humility isn't going to get us anywhere. Take the power back. Take that power and do something with it and advocate for our clients. Oh boy, am I going to get in trouble for this one. White guilt or white power? Oh, you're wondering what I mean by that, don't you? Are you thinking I'm a Nazi? Maybe I'm a skinhead. Take a look. No tats, though. What I'm talking about is the guilt isn't going to help us white counselors. Hey, it's a fact. Most counselors are white male and female. It's a fact. I'm not making this up. Check check the statistics. Counselors, we know this as students. White power. Use your privilege as white people and the dominant culture and act for your clients. We are the ones that have to change the systemic racism. We have to do it for the minorities that we oppress. And I own it. And God willing, I will do it. And thank you for listening. I don't know what's next. I'm going to stop this and see what's next. I'm going to be silent for a minute. Let you read that and reflect. We got to help them fight again. We got to have them take back their humanity, their power, their dignity. We have to do it. Let's do it. We are tasked to do it. So goodbye. Thanks for watching. I'm Paul Falstad, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I hope you won't hate me because I know I said a lot of incendiary comments, and I'm pretty brazen and abrasive and obnoxious with my passion. But I say it because it has to be said, and nobody else is saying it. Very few other people are saying it. All respect due to our Native American ancestors, founders of America, who got ripped off by the white people and are still being put down by the man. Bye-bye.